Hello everyone and welcome to the Murder Mystery Book Club. Our title for today, May 6th, is Murder on the Rocks by Allyson K. Abbott. This is the first in her Max Bar mystery series. This is a quick and friendly spoiler warning that discussion past this point and in the comments of the video post will include spoilers for the novel. If you haven't yet read it, copies are available through the library's Hoopla database. Our story opens as Mackenzie Mac Dalton takes out the garbage to the alleyway behind her bar and discovers a dead body located by the dumpster. However, Mac is quickly overwhelmed by sensory input from the crime scene and is unable to determine much more than that a dead body is present and it appears to be that of a woman. It is later revealed that early in her pregnancy, Mac's mother was involved in a severe car wreck. Suffering serious head trauma in the crash, she was declared brain dead at the hospital, but kept alive on life support in order to allow Mac time to continue to develop and be born. As a result of the trauma of the accident and potential oxygen deprivation, though, Mac's senses became cross-wired, resulting in synesthesia. Essentially, synesthesia is when one sense is activated, another unrelated sense is activated at the same time, according to Psychology for Today. For example, when Mac questions people in the novel, in addition to hearing their voices, she experiences specific sights or taste sensations. These sensations even change depending on the person's mood and body language, indicating that they may be lying or withholding information. It's revealed that the body in the alleyway is that of Ginny, a local realtor and the girlfriend of Mac's father who had been killed in that same alley only a year prior. It doesn't take long for the police to arrive at the scene, and though some officers are initially suspicious of Mac's claims not to have seen much, Detective Duncan Albright, who is in charge of the case, is fascinated by her explanation of her synesthesia and believes it can be a useful tool in helping to solve the crime. Duncan believes that the murder of Ginny is connected to the murder of Mac's father and asks her to allow him to work undercover at her bar, using the story that he is an old family friend who moved away when he and Mac were both children. Working at the bar will allow him to keep a close eye on the staff, the patrons, and Mac herself. Duncan also asks that Mac share any reactions from her synesthesia that match the reaction she had in the alleyway, believing it may provide a clue to the killer's identity. That first night, it is revealed that Mac's bouncer Gary has a criminal record which he had hidden from Mac, though he claims her father knew about it when he hired him. Though Mac does not believe that Gary was involved in either killing, she does fire him as he lied to her about his past. As the evening continues, Mac calls regular patrons back into her office under the pretext of questioning them about the murder, with Duncan acting as an observer. It is revealed in the course of the investigation that the murder weapon used to kill Ginny was a knife from the set in Mac's kitchen and had her fingerprints on it. Though this evidence in and of itself is circumstantial, as the knife set was located in the bar's kitchen, so of course Mac would have touched it multiple times while preparing food, it is also revealed that Ginny had named Mac her sole heir shortly before her death. Despite the accumulation of evidence pointing towards Mac as the killer, Duncan continues to believe that the case of Ginny's murder is connected to the murder of Mac's father, and that Mac herself is innocent and the victim of a clever frame-up. Searching through her father's belongings, Mac finds a book on Al Capone and his activities in the Milwaukee area. Inside the book is a printout of an email Ginny had sent him, including several websites where he can find more information on Al Capone. Following up on her father's interest, Mac researches at the library and discovers that her bar was once owned by a barkeep who was in league with Capone during Prohibition. It's believed that the mob boss may have used that bar as a location to hide his wealth from law enforcement officers. The climax to the mystery comes on a Sunday evening in the middle of a torrential thunderstorm. As Mac heads down to the basement to change out a beer keg, she notices a pool of water developing under a workbench against a wall that does not connect to the outside, so should not be leaking. Finding the hidden mechanism, Mac is able to move the entire piece, table and wall forward to reveal a hidden concrete-walled room. Mac is able to see a closed wooden door on the opposite side of the room, and that the floor of the room itself is covered with water. Though before she can investigate further, the storm outside knocks out power, leaving her with just her flashlight to illuminate the darkness. About halfway across the room, Mac suddenly finds herself sinking as she stumbles into a large depression that the water had concealed. Fortunately, Mac is uninjured and is able to drag herself out of the small pool and find the door on the other side of the room, which is unlocked. Unfortunately, Mac is not in the room alone and finds herself knocked to the ground where she strikes her head. Knocked out for a few moments, she wakes up to find Gary, her bouncer, and Riley Quinn, the owner of the bookstore next door, and a father figure to her, fighting in the darkness. Realizing that an explosion she'd heard when knocked down was in reality a genuine gunshot and not a reaction from her synesthesia, Mac is able to locate the weapon and hold it on the two men, demanding answers. Both Gary and Riley blame each other, claiming to be innocent. However, Riley makes a fatal mistake when he tells Mac that all of the things that went wrong in her bar, the watered-down alcohol, the stolen money, the dead rat, and the cockroach infestation, must have been committed by Gary as sabotage. However, Mac had not told him about every single incident, and the only way Riley could have all the details of every incident was if he himself had committed them. Realizing that his lies have been exposed, Riley attacks Mac, and Gary is hit by a ricochet from the gun. Though Riley is able to disarm Mac, in the end he finds himself at the edge of the pool in the middle of the room, and she's able to knock his legs out from under him, leaving him floundering in the water. After Riley gets dunked in the hole, Duncan arrives with police backup to arrest him and provide medical assistance for Gary. After the chaos of that evening, the police investigate, following the tunnel from the secret room into the basement of Riley's bookstore next door, finding excavating equipment and books on Capone and his history in the Milwaukee area. After Riley discovered the tunnel and secret room, he began excavating it, believing that it was the hiding place of Capone's treasure. However, one evening he had forgotten to close the door on the bar side completely, and Mac's father discovered the room for himself. Furious that Riley was doing all of this in secret, he confronted him after the bar closed. Though Riley offered a partnership, Mac's father refused to consider it, and Riley shot him in a scuffle. After Riley believed his sabotage attempts had worked to the point where Mac would have no choice but to sell her bar, he began dating Ginny in the hopes that she would be able to facilitate the sale with Riley as an anonymous buyer. However, a burst pipe in the bookstore basement caused excessive damage to several titles, and while Ginny was helping Riley dispose of the damaged books, she came across the blueprints for the bar and the books on Capone. Realizing that there must be a secret room, she was able to find it and confronted Riley with the events. Believing that Ginny would expose his plan, Riley killed her, stabbing her to death with a knife from Mac's kitchen, and then disposing of her in the alleyway behind the bar, believing that all evidence would point to Mac and she would be arrested, allowing him free rein to dig up the basement and the secret room. It is revealed, though, that the secret room is completely empty and there is no gold to be found. However, Capone did leave a small treasure in the bar. In a hidden compartment behind a wall of shelving, there were several cases of liquor dating back to the Prohibition era. Mac was able to sell many of the bottles off at auction to collectors eager to own a piece of Capone history and making a tidy profit in the end. As the story closes, Mac's regulars dub themselves the Capone Club, deciding they wish to continue investigating mysteries in the area. And Duncan asks Mac if she will consider working with him and the Milwaukee police to provide insight into crime scenes using her synesthesia. I really enjoyed Murder on the Rocks, finding it to be a fun, easy, cozy mystery, and would definitely recommend it to any fans of the genre. I found Mac's synesthesia to be a unique plot device, providing a fascinating, different perspective on the mystery. It definitely made me think about how we perceive the world around us with our own senses. How much do we miss by having sensory stimulation only engage one particular sense? For example, Mac has a synesthesia reaction to the concrete dust on Riley's coat from digging in the tunnel, which matches her reaction to that same concrete dust in the alleyway and on the workbench in the basement. However, would she have even noticed the dust if it weren't for her synesthesia? Or would it have been merely glanced over and deemed unimportant? Some reviewers downgraded the book as they felt the synesthesia provided too much description, bogging down the narrative, but I thought it added a fascinating layer. The question of how we perceive the world around us through our senses and what items our brain considers important while others are passed over is always fascinating. Though I don't know if I'd say Mac is perceiving more than a person without synesthesia. The reaction she receives from different stimuli certainly cause her to pay attention to more minute items that other people may pass over as unimportant, lending her a unique perspective of the world around her. I was definitely intrigued enough to pick up the next books in the series and can't wait to find out what else happens to Mac and her Capone crew. But these are just my thoughts, and I really want to know what you guys thought of the novel. Did you enjoy it? And if so, did it interest you enough to pick up the next one in the series? What did you think of the use of Mac's synesthesia as a plot point? Were you able to guess the identity of the killer right away, or were you fooled until the end? Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section of this video. I can't wait to hear what everyone thought. Also, don't forget to stay tuned to the library's website and social media for more information about our upcoming programs. We've got some great things planned, and I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone at the next event. Bye!